In this video, we're going to have a look at some advanced CSS code. Now, if you haven't already done so, make sure you've watched the box style CSS video so that you know how we ended up with these boxes with text inside them and why they've got all these weird colors. Now, this video follows directly on from the Google Fonts video, so that's why you can see all these weird looking fonts on my screen, although that's not part of this video. So what we're going to do in this video is talk about a very specific problem that people have. And I'm just going to zoom into this web page here. And you can see that I've got my header, box 1, 2, and 3. And box 1 and 2 have some lorem ipsum text, which is just your fake text to fill up a box. And you can see that I've got a nice font going on. But in my web page, I would like the text on the left to be a different color than the text on the right. And we're going to have problems with that because if you have a look at my CSS code, I've actually set the color to forest green for both. So in my HTML, if you have a look at box 1, it has a P tag, and that's there. And box 2 has a P tag, which is there. So the text inside P and NP and P and NP, of course, are paragraph text. Now the style that we've put is a single style, that's P, which is forest green. So the first thing I'm going to do, because of course this is a problem of having different colors. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the color from P there. So that goes to the default black. So what we really want is a way to keep our P tag, the paragraph tag, but change the color for one or the other. Now what we can do is now use something in CSS called a class. Now, just a very quick recap. Everything we did with container, header, box, what we used is the hash symbol. And what that means in our HTML, when you use the hash header, for example, over here, you can then in your HTML say div ID and header. And then what that does is it says whatever the style of header is, which is width 900, height 150, and so on, I want that box to be all of those things that it says in the CSS file for header. So if you think about it, a hash and word ID in CSS really is telling you how big something is, what color something is. Really, you're making a box. So it's all about making a box. Now what we're going to do is at the bottom of our code, we are going to put in a full stop, and I'm going to call it paragraph red. Now you don't have to make your lines this big, but I'm just kind of making it obvious what this code is going to be. And what we're going to do is just open up the curly brackets, and here I'm going to put color is red, semicolon. That's all I'm going to do. I'm now going to make a second dot or a second class, and I'm going to say paragraph blue, like so. Open and close curlies, put in the color of blue. Let's actually make that a lighter blue just so that you can see it, and press the semicolon there. So this code really does nothing on its own. Just like our other code, you have to actually write it in the HTML. So let's go to box 1. You're going to have to look very carefully at what I'm doing here because you can kind of put this in the wrong place. So I've got an open tag which is div ID equals box 1. That's that box there. I opened a P tag, and now what I'm going to do is just insert in there a class, and very carefully type in paragraph red exactly as I did before. Now you can see as soon as I type that, that text goes red. Let's go to box 2. Let's find the P, open that, put in a class of paragraph blue. Now of course you should use shorter names than me. Now you can see immediately that I've got red text and blue text on the same page using only the P tag without having to mess around with the actual P tag in the CSS because I've made this class. Now, what does that mean? What that means is if I change the size of paragraph, it changes both of them. So let's change that to 18, and you can see I've changed both the box 1 and box 2 texts. So I control all of the font and the size there. But with the classes, I can decide that one of my paragraphs is blue and one of my paragraphs is red. And this is a really powerful way of controlling your web page and having different styles for the same thing, like a H1 or a paragraph or even an image that comes later on. So this is a really powerful way of making your website even more cool without having to mess up your code, because a lot of people try to use different H1, H2, H3, H4 for different types of text. There's no problem with that. Really, this is the correct way to do it. You really should style using classes. So classes really can style for size, color, position, or anything. So really, a class is used, and just to remind you, a class is a dot. That is used when you need two different styles within the same tag for H1 or H2 or paragraph. So that's how we use classes to style our web pages even more than the div IDs would let us do. So if you don't understand that, just rewatch the video and then have a go yourself.